always had a passion for aviation. When SYC came to my school during a recruitment drive, I signed up. And as I progressed through the course, my passion for flying grew, affirming my decision to join SYC.
During my interview, I was rather nervous. However, knowing that I wanted to become a pilot, I managed to overcome it and presented myself to the interview panel with confidence. Later that day, I was notified I was being accepted into the Singapore Youth Flying Club, and that marked the start of my journey to becoming a pilot.
When I was in the basic flying course, my classmate and I attended the weekly Saturday ground school for 6 weeks. The ground school really benefited me a lot, as the computer-aided instruction and the friendly mentors taught me on how to carry out aircraft checks and how to communicate effectively through video telephony. This really laid a strong foundation for my flying, and it really helped me as I progressed into the next phase.
Simulation sessions was very exciting for me, as I have never been given the opportunity to actually be in an aircraft simulator. My very first simulator session, I was taught the fundamentals of flight, which includes exercise on straight and levels and basic aircraft checks. The simulator session is very important, as I feel that it provides as a platform for students like myself to practice, and it also gives us an idea on what to expect in the actual flying sorties itself. The simulator session is also a safe platform, as it allows you to make mistakes which you cannot afford to do in the actual flights.
I did very well for my first sortie, as my instructor had very high expectations of me. Everything happened very fast, and my instructor was showing me the different landmarks to take note of, as well as the different in-flight checks. The most taxing of all was the voice communications, which required 100% of my concentration. In the end, this was what I really wanted, and it confirmed my aspiration to be a pilot.
During the basic flying phase, we've learned basic maneuvering of the aircraft and how to take off and land safely. The most challenging part was flying the normal circuit, as it requires me to multitask and increase my situational awareness. This was to prepare me for my first solo flight.
Being able to sit in the cockpit of an aircraft with no one else but me and having full control of it is by far the greatest moment of my life. Never did I dream of it being possible. Although it was just a short 10 minutes, it meant hours of flight training and confidence to be able to handle the aircraft from takeoff to landing without the presence of an instructor. The feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment was immense during the moment I took off and touched down. Indeed, the first solo experience will always be my most memorable flight.
And for me, after my first solo flight, I had my traditional first solo dunk by my instructor, Tan SL. I felt a great sense of satisfaction and accomplishment of achieving one of the goals I set for myself when I first entered Singapore Youth Flying Club, which was to pass my first solo and move on to the PPL phase. After months of tireless efforts and putting in my 110% concentration each flight, I finally mastered the techniques of taking off and landing, which has finally been recognized by my instructor from the control tower.
After which,
we were both recommended for PPL.
After a successful first solo flight, I was recommended to proceed on with the private pilot license course. It felt surreal just about 6 months ago,
aspiring to be one of the seniors in the PPL course. Receiving my PPL badge from my PPL instructor, Mr. Dewitt, I felt extremely privileged to be one of the selected few. Armed with a new flight suit, a pair of new boots and gloves, I was fully equipped and ready to conquer the last phase of my SYFC journey. It was to be an enriching yet grueling journey for me and my peers.
So during our ground school training, I've learned more about radio telephony, aircraft navigation and also aircraft ratings. This has helped me understand more about the aircraft and also how to fly it better. From this ground school training, I've learned how to manage my time better and also have more discipline. I've forged many friendships as these friends have gone through many things with me together.
The aerial solo is a sortie where I fly to our training area over Sembawang and northern part of Singapore with only myself in the plane. The freedom we experience is a different thing from the normal solo, just around the runway. Aerial solo gave a higher level of freedom, but it also demanded a higher level of piloting skill from me. Unlike the circuit, I am now beyond sight of the control tower where my instructor is, and so the responsibility now falls onto me to fly the plane and carry out my sortie profiles such as stall and steep turns safely. This put me out of my comfort zone and made me believe in my abilities and decision making.
Preparing for the final handling test was a daunting task indeed, as there were strict guidelines we had to meet in order to pass. Every flight became a mission to improve my flying skills, and flying accurately became more important than ever. This was not too difficult, however, as under the guidance of the instructors, my entire PPL journey and all the flights I had flown previously were precisely to ensure that my flying skills could meet such a criteria. This was part and parcel of being a good, competent pilot, which of course had been the goal of the PPL course all this while.
The FHT not only tests me on my proficiency in flying, but as well as my knowledge of my aircraft and flight preparation.
In the FHT, as the pilot in command, it has taught me leadership skills because I am responsible for the safety of my aircraft. This FHT gives me a prelude to my future career as a pilot, where the same skills like multitasking, decision making and performing under stress will be tested to the limit.
After 50 hours of flight training, it all boils down to the FHT. Up in the air, it's just me, my tester, and my aircraft.
What I learned from this FHT is to develop a strong sense of determination. Like for example, as tired as we are while flying for 1.5 hours, we still have to push on to complete our flying test at hand safely and swiftly. Also, to make decisive decisions as weather conditions change.
After passing my final handling test, the first feeling that came to me wasn't of joy, but actually of relief. Because after spending more than a year here at Singapore Youth Flying Club, it feels great to see my determination and time spent here pay off and finally earn my wings.
Our journey at Singapore Youth Flying Club has been a long but fulfilling one. Confidence, time management, and perseverance are some of the things we have learned. Along the way, we forged strong friendships that we would treasure for a long time. The lessons that we have learned here will definitely stay with us for life. And this has been our flying journey.